Hi, thanks for joining me today for a deep stretch class. So in today's class, my goal is to help you unwind, lengthen, open, and create balance in your body. We will do this by incorporating static stretches, meaning held poses, often supported, with dynamic stretches, which will be moving in and out of a position or moving in a position to create some release or softness. Okay, and you'll need a few props today, so you might want to make sure you have one or two yoga blocks. If you do not have yoga blocks, get a couple of stacks of books and put maybe one on each side of your mat, something like that. You'll need a strap or a long flex band. You'll need either a rolled up towel or a foam roller if you have one. Okay, so let's get started. We will be breathing. The breath is very important in some deep stretching, or any stretching for that matter. In fact, it's very important throughout all of our Pilates mat work and in life, right? All right, so we'll start in table position. Slide those shoulders down, tailbone reaches back, head reaches forward. We're going to simply shift our weight to our left knee and hover the right knee off of the mat. And start with some small, easy circles, allowing this thigh bone, this femur bone, to sort of dangle, allowing gravity to help you. And then go the other way. Keep everything else as quiet as you can, and just do some natural, even breaths in and out as you circle this knee. Okay, then you're going to pull the knee in and sort of kick it to the side. Pull it in the middle, kick it to the side. Pull, and outside your elbow and in, and outside your elbow and in, and outside. You'll feel this differently in your hip. One more set, in and out. Great. And I'm going to turn around so you can see the other leg. So now you will shift the weight to your right, hover your left. Start with small circles, keeping everything else quiet, keeping the shoulder blades pulled on your back, lifting up those ribs, breathing nice and even. Try to imagine the space that you're creating in your hip socket. Go the other way. Our hips get very jammed up, very tight, and even one of the biggest culprits in that is sitting, a lot of sitting. So let's pull in and out, and in, kick it out, and in. Now, when we go through all of these things, these exercises, make sure your space is appropriate, you've got enough room, you're not going to bang into anything, and also choose things that are appropriate for you. If something's not right, don't do it. Take responsibility. Great, and finish. So I'm going to turn back around just for a different vantage point. Put your feet together, your knees wide, and send those hips back. And then move forward. And then send those hips back. You're reaching and moving. And forward. And before you send the hips back the next time, you might want to grab one yoga block or two, depending on your flexibility. Send your hips back. Slide your head onto the yoga block. Leave your arms long in front of you and just melt. And breathe. So in this long spine, long arm child pose, you will be focusing on expanding your ribs side to side, front and back, big three-dimensional breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, and then you want to exhale and push all the air out and empty those lungs completely, and feel the heaviness of your bones, the softness that you're creating through some of the joints and the length in the muscles. So as we continue to breathe here, and without moving your hips, just sweep your arms back and wrap them behind behind you and stay in child's pose and sort of wrap the shoulder blades onto your back ribs and breathe into this position. Keep going, keep breathing. If this is hard on your knees, or you just can't really settle your hips back as far as you would want, this is where you might put something underneath your hips so that you're lifted up a bit more and not so compact. This angle of the knees is not so intense. 2 more breaths here. And now sweep your arms back, and this time make little claw fingers with your hands and lift those shoulder blades up away from the mat and do 3 more big breaths here. Last breath. Empty completely. And roll your way out to table. You can move your prop aside if you have one. So now we'll go into some spine articulation and cat-cow. Again, following our breath. So inhale fully, feeling a neutral spine in this position. Exhale, tuck the tail, lift or scoop that stomach, fold the ribs, soften the collarbones, and let your head fall gently down. Puff up the upper back. And then lengthen through your neutral as you inhale. Lift your tail up, lift your chest up, and open. Little back extension. Let's do that 3 more times. Exhale here. So this is a dynamic motion. It's moving. Little holds, but basically it's moving. And again. So my foot. And back to your neutral. And then to back extension. Great. Place your feet together again. Send those hips back. This time walk your hands to your right and reach your left hand strongly forward. And drop your head towards your knee. And breathe into this whole left side, from your fingertips down. Imagine the rib cage expanding, the muscles between the individual ribs actually lengthen. They're small little groups, the internal and external intercostals, but they help with our breathing, help the rib cage. All right, that's it. And you will also find throughout this video that besides there being static movement and dynamic movement, there'll be me talking away as well as some moments of silence for you to just listen to your breath and settle in. So that should have been long enough going to the right. Now slide everything to the left. Make sure you really press this right hip down towards your heel. Again, if this is too much on your knees, put something under your hips. And really reach this right arm forward. Do 2 more breaths. And great. Come on out back to table. Final thing in this position in this little series, I call this rolling ribs. What you're going to do is slide your ribs to the side, lift them to the ceiling, go to the other side, and drop them down. So if you can imagine the sort of barrel shape of your rib cage, and imagine that it's rolling around. The shoulders move just a tiny bit, and the hips might move just a tiny bit. But basically, you're not moving your whole body, you're moving your rib cage. And let's go the other way. So this should feel nice. If something doesn't feel good, especially in this class, this deep stretch class, sit for a moment and just breathe into the tight places or the places that are feeling cranky. And then you'll pivot yourself around, laying on your side. Make sure you can see me. There we go. Knees in front of hips, shoulders are stacked. Reach the upper arm forward. Inhale, reach up and look up. Squeeze your knees together. Exhale, from your waist, you wrap. And you look behind. And now you're opening through the front ribs into the side ribs, opening the shoulder, keeping the knees together so your hips stay stacked, and you're twisting. So we rolled our ribs, now we're twisting through the ribs. And this is a static hold, so you're breathing and holding. Keep squeezing those knees together. Keep reinforcing that the hips are stacked. You're not twisting into the low back or sacrum too much. And your arm here, everybody's a little different. It may possibly be on the floor. But remember, the reason we're doing this is not to touch the floor behind us, but to wrap through the ribs and the shoulder and get a spinal twist. Side-lying spinal twist. And then from here, roll to your back. You might want your stack of books or your 2 blocks, depending. I think I'll just do 1 block. You're going to lift your hips up, slide your block underneath, so it's a lifted bridge, supported, and take your arms over your head and stretch. So another static position, just noticing where the tightness is, noticing if you can soften anything a little bit more. Keep breathing really fully and notice again the fullness of the breath when you allow your ribs to expand side to side and front. It's a little harder in this position to go back with those ribs, but you can give it a little shot with that. All right. And the arms are reaching long, so you get this opening through the whole side here. Slide your right leg out. Reach out through the heel. Just feel the openness here. Try to stay even. Try not to let the right side pull you off to the right. Slide it in, and then the other leg, reach out that heel. And slide it in. Your arms back. Give yourself a little hug. Release the back of the shoulders. And then lift those hips up. And if you can, you roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Until you're in neutral again. Roll to your other side. I'm going to spin around. Reach up with these stacked knees. Cradle your head with the underneath arm, or if you still have your yoga block nearby, you can always stick that into your head like so. As you exhale, and as you squeeze the knees together, you rotate, you twist. So try to keep the body in a place where, it's still, but you're even in stillness, there's activity as you breathe, as you release, as you stretch just a little deeper into this. Remember, we're trying to unravel the tight places and open through some of the joints that get sort of crammed up by sitting or by standing or jumping or whatever our activities are. couple more breaths here. One more. And then reach up and back. So now we go to a different transition. So instead of rolling to our back, we're going to stay right on our side. With your head cradled, you're going to take the upper foot with the same arm, so right hand, right foot, or left hand, left foot, depending on which way you started. And then draw the knee back slightly and tighten your glutes so you push the hips forward slightly. So we get a quadricep and hip flexor stretch. And again, if this is hard on your knee, maybe hold your sock or your pant leg like so that you're not bending the knee quite so much, but you can still get a quad stretch and get a stretch into your hip flexor. Notice, breathe, enjoy the quiet moments when I'm not chatting away. So in deep stretch, we do tend to hold these stretches longer. 3 more breaths here. Try to keep your breathing full, but controlled and creating a calming effect. Roll to your stomach. You can let go of your leg. Place your arms in a goalpost. It's just like what it sounds like a goalpost at the end of a football field. Lift the heads of your shoulders up. Keep the legs stretched really long. And then inhale, lift that chest, a little tiny baby lift. The head follows the spine. Hold it. And then lengthen to the side waist and bring your nose down. And then you breathe it up again. And you exhale. Legs are strong and straight behind you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This one you'll go higher. Inhale. Bring your elbows in. Push into your forearms and hands. Slide your shoulders down and lift your chest. You're resting on your hands and forearms and elbows. Now slide your tailbone towards your feet if you can. So you sort of lengthen the lower back and you open it up. Push the hip points equally into your mat as you lift your abs up. Stay here and breathe. One more breath. So a shorter hold here. And then roll to the other side. I'm going to come up and turn around. So here we are, other side. Breathing and holding. So the object of this is, again, like I mentioned, to sort of lengthen the quads and try to get some into the hip flexor here. And when I teach in the studio, I do try to have students think about what is the essence of this, or what is the purpose of this, so that they understand and you can work deeply with that understanding. About 3 more very full, controlled, and wonderful deep breaths. Now empty those lungs. Imagine them squeezing the air out as the diaphragm lifts, assisting in the exhalation. Let go of the foot. Come onto your stomach this way. Come right to the supported position where we were facing the other direction. Slide those shoulders down. So you may stay here, or you may want to push a little higher, and you can split your legs a little bit if you do that, so that your low back is lengthened. Everything's lifted up. Last breath here. Push your way up. Sit momentarily in a child's pose. We're not going to stay long. Just release that low back for a moment. Then come up and around and back to your back. So I'd like you to take your feet as wide as the mat. Take your arms out in the T. Drop those abs in for some support. Unhinge your jaw, relax your face. That's part of it. And then drop both knees to the right and to the left. Just follow your breath. Easy rolls side to side. One more set, so this is dynamic work, going into the stretch and moving out of it. And then leaving your feet as wide as the mat, knock your knees in, pigeon toe your toes in, reach the arms straight up, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and then hug across your body, like sort of a little below your chest towards your abdomen, not up here somewhere. Okay, slide those shoulders down and the shoulder blades into the back ribs. Drop the ribs down, drop the abs down. You might want to nod your head if you can reach a yoga block or a book. Actually, this is sort of a nice position for this, with the head up just a little higher, but not necessary if you feel fine with your head flat. Try really hard not to jet your chin up. So you don't want this excessive curve in your neck. You want your ears over your shoulders and your ribs knit together here. So this is, I learned this as the constructive rest position. We're just doing that. We're going to give our body a chance to rest and unfurl itself, to find its state of natural balance and openness. So we'll take 4 big breaths here, and notice your breath as it comes in. Pause with full lungs, excuse me, and then either blow the air out through pursed lips or blow it out completely through your nose. 3 more breaths like that, very thoughtful, very slow. Pause with those full lungs, and then blow that air out either through the mouth or the nose. Two more. One more. Nice. So as you bring yourself out of this, I'm looking for my yoga block. You might want to see if you can reach your books or blocks nearby. It's not 100% necessary, but it is sort of a nice assist. We're going to take our knees open now. So this is like a little butterfly shape with the wings opening. And you can take a yoga block and put it like so, or a towel, so that you've got a little support up towards the hips, which will help so that you don't, a lot of times in this position, what people do is they plop their legs open and they sort of end up arching their back and allowing the weight of the legs to pull through here, which you don't really want. It's not going to make your back very happy. So instead you want to drop those abs in, knit these ribs together, press the feet in, and just let the knees go where they need to go. And that's why the prof will often encourage you not to overextend. So choose what's best for you, please. And for this particular one with the legs in this shape, make like a diamond with your arms and either put your arms on your forehead, which is what I'm going to do, to help me keep my ribs down instead of popped up. Or if your shoulders are nice and loose and you can do this without popping your ribs up, take your hands and rest them on the floor behind you with the arms in this like diamond-like shape. So this is another place to observe your breathing. Maybe close your eyes, unhinge your jaw. We'll do 6 breaths in this position. Let them get a little fuller and a little longer. And let's do one more for good measure, as deep and full as you can make it. Bring your knees together and up. Squeeze them towards your ribs. Circle around. 3 in one direction, 3 in the other direction. Then take your knees, right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee, circle the knees around. So now we're working in the hip socket, which just did both internal and external rotation and stretches. And then holding one knee, do better than that. Roll your way up if it's appropriate for you. I want you to find your band or strap. Go ahead and put that band flat or strap on the foot. You can start with your right foot. And this is a great place. I like something under my head for these stretches. To have your head supported just a little bit. Drop those ribs down. Engage the abs. This leg that is not up in the band, you are imagining that you're standing on it. So it's straight and strong. And here's our stretching leg. We're going to start with the ankle. So we'll point the toe and pull the toe down. Point the toe. Pull the toe down, flat foot, point, down, point. Now we're going to add the knee, down, point, pull down, soften knee, push up through the heel, and point. Pull down as much as you can, soften in the knee. Now this isn't a big drop, it's just a slight bend. Then you push through that heel straight and point. 3 more times, bend, soften, up, point. 2 more times, bend, soften, up, point. 1 more, good, and point. Now, crisscross your band if you if it's long enough. So a little pull. If you have a strap, you can still crisscross it and draw some small circles with your big toe. So that the big toe is guiding this leg, right? Great. And then you go the other way. Nice. And then bring the band back into your right hand and just find your stretch. In these stretches with the band, when I'm doing my hamstring and my inner thigh, my adductors, I like to imagine that the bones from the inside, the muscles way in by the bones, are slowly unraveling. They're releasing and allowing me to find a fuller stretch and for the muscle fibers and the fascia to lengthen. But then again, I have a vivid imagination, but find your breath, find images that work for you, observe yourself, and enjoy. Turn those toes out, draw the leg to the side. Now keep this opposite side down. Do one more little bend. Push out through that heel. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Hold it. 2 breaths here. One more. Nice and slow. Bring it up. We do have to wake up our abs a little bit before we move to the other side. So, band is on both feet. Bend your knees. And press those heels out. Now scoop the stomach in. Scoop it in. Scoop. Drop those abs in. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Hold. If you want to curl up, you can. Or you can stay down. Maybe go a little lower. Squeeze the glutes to help you. Very nice. Switch. Okay. So now, holding the band with the left hand, we start with the pointing and flexing. So we point and we flex. And we point and we flex. And we point and we flex. And point. One more after this. And flex. And point and flex. Now we add the knee. Point, flex, and soften knee. Push up through the heel and then point. Pull the toes down, soften knee, push through heel, and point 3 more times. And point, and soften, up, and point. I think we have one more. I'm a horrible counter, but I believe that is correct. And point, and good. Crisscross, small little circles for the hip socket, using the band, not big, just enough to stir this femur bone up in the hip socket. It's a ball and socket joint, so it literally has a head that can stir around in the bowl of your pelvis of the hip. Great. Another way. This is easy breathing, nice and natural. Last one. And then bring it in for your full stretch. Shoulders relaxed, jaw relaxed. Even the eyes, soften them. And notice, notice, notice. So important. Notice where you feel tight. Notice if one leg's different than the other. Notice if your breathing throughout class has slowly gotten deeper and fuller. One more breath here. A little bit closer. Turn the toes out, draw it to the side. Push to that heel. Keep this side nice and anchored and breathe. Very nice. I hope you're enjoying the changes you're noticing as you hold and you breathe, giving yourself time to truly unwind and to create that balance we're striving for. Okay, and then soften and just push to that heel. And one more time, soften, big gesture here, push to that heel. And then hold it for 2 more little breaths. Bring it up. So place your left foot that you just stretched on the mat, hook your right over, lift up, and now you're getting a stretch here on the back of the right hip. Place your left foot down, slide your right all the way over so it's on top of your underneath knee, which is tucked right in the crease behind the kneecap. Take your arms out to a T as you and jog your hips a little bit to the right, and then as you exhale, drop the knees to the left and look right. Another twist, but with the legs in this position, you get a little bit more through the side of the hip. Last couple big full breaths. Just savor it. Taking all this time for yourself, it's just wonderful and so healthy. Come back. Place your right foot down, center your hips again, cross the left one over, pick up the right, hands come through. You can leave your head down, you can curl it up if you really like that. But again, ask yourself, how can I get the most out of this and what is the purpose? Purpose is a hip opener. So if your neck starts to scream at you because you've chosen to curl up like this, just put your head down and go back to why we're doing this. If your neck's fine, happy, you can keep your head up. It's important that you learned about your body and what's best for it and how to nudge it along to make improvements and to change. I used to have a yoga teacher years ago who used to say, remember, our bodies are not made out of cement. We can change things in our body. It just takes patience and consistency, right? One more breath. Put the foot down, cross over. So it's like you're squeezing your knees together, have one leg instead of two, hands come out. Jog your hips a little bit to your left, drop your knees to the right, look left, and breathe. Last 2 breaths in this position. Come back to the center. Bring your hips to the center. If you've got something under your head, slide it out. Feet are hip distance apart, legs are parallel, arms are by your sides. Firing your glutes, you lift your hips up to however big or little of a bridge is appropriate for you. Now open the front of your thighs and your hips. Reach out your kneecaps, press into your big toes. And on your next exhale, see if you can lower one vertebrae at a time. Again, if that's appropriate for your spine. Roll to your side, push your way up. And let's sit with a straddle stretch. Stack your spine, melt your shoulders down, and then tip yourself forward. So if your hamstrings are still tight after all that stretching, but you know that you tend to be tight, maybe you're a runner, maybe you just have tight hamstrings, soften your knees, or get your yoga block and sit up on your yoga block. You can do 2 side by side or 1 just sideways, and that will help you get out of your hamstrings a bit. And with as long a spine as you can make, just tip yourself forward and notice your hips, which we just worked. Lengthen the spine, melt your shoulders down. Nice. Nice. So I hope that I have given you enough time of quiet that you can notice your breath and get a lot out of these stretches. Hopefully I've given you enough instruction that you feel like you are doing them to your body's fullest ability. Also remember, on any of these videotapes, we do not use music, but you can always have music on in your home or wherever you are that you enjoy that would maybe make the class more fun for you. Okay, come on up, lift up your left arm, go to the right, reaching for the toes over here. Try to keep your shoulders open and stacked. Press this hip down. Now you're opening up the ribs again, like we did when we were in child's pose and walked our hands to the side. One more big breath as you reach even more. Yeah, and up. And the other arm up. Side bend. That's it. That's it. Now anchor the opposite hip. Send your breath into this upper part of your ribs. And lift up. Great. Flip your legs around. Come up on your knees. If this does not feel good, then you do not need to come up on your knees. You're going to step one leg forward and press into this hip here. You're not staying long, just a little last moment or two to open up the front of that quad and hip flexor before we stand up. And then switch legs. That's it. Excellent. Great. And then step your feet together, hang over your legs, hands can be tented, your fingers tented on the floor. If you like, yoga ragdoll, you can clasp opposite elbows. But in a hanging position like this, make sure you lift your abs up to give support to your back. Take 2 more breaths, breathing into your back, expanding your ribs a little bit to the side, and then scooping that stomach up. And after your second breath, with the stomach lifting, 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 uncurl your spine until you're perfectly tall. Yeah. And then set our shoulders on our back. Reach the arms up. Notice our length from our feet to our fingertips. Our fingertips, there we go. And exhale, hug those abs in. This whole panel from our back through our sides, the obliques, to the front. Everything is helping us to feel strong and connected. We're working from the center, the powerhouse out, even in stretching. Feel the length, lift that chest, open. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate that you've attended my deep stretch class. Have a great day.